Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Frost Seymour experience. I'm Nick Frost.
And I'm Paul Seymour. How's it going, Nick?
It's not too bad, mate. I can see we're joined by someone here today.
We are indeed. Welcome, the Fleffinator. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you very much. I'm doing great. How are you two doing?
Can't complain. Not too shabby, thanks. Not too shabby.
That's good.
Been enjoying the football?
I have indeed. Really? How about you two?
Yeah. Every week we enjoy it, so it's not too
There's
bad.
been throwing up surprises, haven't they?
Yeah.
Recently, so.
Have indeed. Bit of a side note, Fluffinator's enjoying it very much. He's in my fantasy football league and he's currently top.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yes.
insight from the main man who knows his stuff today.
Yeah. He does know his stuff.
So, let's take a look at round 8, shall we?
Let's do it.
And so we'll start off with what, for me, was a big surprise. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did you boys think of that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was after what Villa have been doing the last couple of weeks, they're kind of slacking off a little bit, haven't they? They've lost a few games. But then Arsenal are just one of those teams at the moment, just don't know what's what. 1 minute they're flying, the next minute they're not. They're unpredictable at the moment. It'd be horrible to be an Arsenal fan right now. You wouldn't know where to look. So
Yeah. Yes, I do agree. It's quite a shocking result, actually. I thought it would be like more of a 2-1 Arsenal win, something like that myself. Because, Arsenal, they're quite a strong team under a good management.
Aubameyang's gone off the ball a bit, hasn't he?
Yes.
Hasn't scored for a bit. Well, he's
Yeah.
got his contract now, so he doesn't need to.
Well, that's it.
Like you do.
He's doing a nose.
Yeah, great win for Villa.
Yeah.
They've stopped the rot, as it were.
Indeed.
And then what was, in terms of hype, the game of the weekend, not really in terms of entertainment, but Man City won, Liverpool won. I'll let you talk about that, Paul, as they're your team.
Yeah, of course. It was a tough one to go into. Obviously, us and Man City were having a few injuries on our teams, of course. But and there's obviously a big issue at the moment. Obviously, muscle strains. They're saying that they can't cope with all the games being played at the moment. But that taking that apart, I mean, ultimately, I thought we started really well. I thought we went at them. Penalty came across, and obviously Salah took that away nicely. And a good finish by Gabriel Jesus as well. His side, very nice turn on his point. The penalty for me, I thought it was harsh, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in one of our final segments, of course. I think I don't think any player could get their arms out of their way that quick anyway. So, but I'm just glad that De Bruyne missed, a very rare miss from him. So yeah, it was interesting, but I'll take the draw.
Yes, it's a decent result for both teams, I do believe. And I do agree with you, Seymour. The penalty was a bit harsh. Being the ball, being pelted at him that close. No way you can get the arm out of the way.
Yeah.
So.
I disagree with you there, Fluffinator. It's not a good result for either team, really. I think both teams will look at it as 2 points dropped, really.
Yeah.
It's a game they...
yeah.
I mean, I think it was Phil Foden. It was mentioned in commentary. He'd said, "This is a game we have to win." So, for both teams, really, it's their big rival of the last 2 years. It's a must win.
Yeah.
But speaking of penalties, another game with another penalty incident is our next result.
Yeah.
Leicester 1, Wolves 0. Now there was 2 penalties in this game, and the first one, which Vardy tucked away nicely, wasn't a penalty in my eyes. The next one, which he missed, was a penalty.
Yeah.
Discuss.
Discuss indeed. Well, I think justice was done overall, but like you said, the first handball. I mean, again, we'll talk about it later quickly, but never a handball in my eyes. It was just the way it was. Obviously, he'd scored the penalty. That was the way it is. The second one was a stonewall penalty, like you mentioned, and obviously he missed. So if you just flip reverse it, then it was probably the right result. I thought Wolves played better in the second half. They showed a bit more energy. But Leicester at the moment, they're quite stubborn. They know exactly what they need to do. They've got a game plan. And obviously, I know Rodgers very well from about 10 years or so ago. So he's got his eye on it. What did you think there, Fleff?
I think that was a right result, actually, in terms of the result. Wolves didn't really look in the game to me at any point, from what I've seen anyway. But I'll say something. That was a cracking save for the second penalty from Rui Patricio, in my view. Cracking save.
Yeah.
He just got it down so well, so quick. And, against Jamie Vardy, man. Great save. So.
It was a great save. Great keeper, Patricia.
Yeah, yes, he is.
And a quick shout out to Kasper Schmeichel as well, because there was one hell of a shot by Neves, near enough like the last third of the game. I tell you what a save that was to come across him and to do that. Fantastic save. Brilliant.
And that was top corner job, wasn't it?
Top corner. He would have been a goal any other time, but what a save.
Yeah. Brilliant save. I saw that game as well, and what I enjoyed even more than the save really was Kasper's reaction after it. His face, you could just tell he just loves football. Like, he just loved that save. He loves the game. He plays it for the love of the game, it's nice to see. Yeah,
it is good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on. A couple of 1-0ers here, so we won't dwell too much on them. Tottenham ground out a 1-0 over West Brom. West Ham with a 1-0 over Fulham. We do need to mention this one, of course. Last-minute penalty for Fulham. It's gone. I mean, every description of it we've read, it's described as the worst penalty in history. Have you seen it?
Unfortunately for him, yes, I have. I'm not going to dog on the guy. I think he dogged. As soon as he did it, he knew. He just knew Scott Parker was going to tear him a new one. And rightfully so. You don't muck around when it was 1-0 down. So yes, if you haven't seen it, check it out. And there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube to go check it out. But good lord, one of the worst penalties I've ever seen, especially like that.
Yes.
Unfortunate.
Yes, I didn't see it myself until you showed me, Nick. It was quite an atrocious penalty. So I'm not going to lie, So
you could have done better.
Oh yes, blindfolded could have done better.
At least you would have hoofed it.
All joking aside, they're fighting relegation. How big could that point have been come the end of the season?
Yeah, I know. This could be massive.
Yeah.
Just as big as that Villa game last season, wasn't it?
Of course, yeah. Every point counts in a relegation battle.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Definitely.
And then, following the 2 1-0ers, we've got 2 4-1ers.
Yeah.
Chelsea smashed Sheffield, which was pretty predictable, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
But then this was definitely not predictable. Palace thumping Leeds 4-1.
I know. That was mad, wasn't it? Again, Leeds are just one of those teams, I would say. They're not as quite as dicey as Arsenal, but, on form, they could do what they do. But, never predicted that in a million years. I was shocked by that. Absolutely shocked.
Wow. Obviously, a Chelsea win was predictable, but I thought Sheffield United would put up a bit more of a fight, considering what they did last season. They come up and they just smash it out of the park, in my view, for them. You know what I mean?
Well, they just take the lead in the game, of course, at the start.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace, I thought that would be the right result, really. Because they are quite a quality team, Crystal Palace.
Yeah. For me, I had it down as a Leeds win all day, but showed me.
If you're a betting man, definitely.
And then we've got, again, Everton, early season high flyers. It's another loss. Richarlison, he's injured. Is that why they're losing? I mean, are they a one-man team?
Quite possibly. Obviously, he got that sending off, didn't he? Which didn't help matters as well. Obviously, had him his game, but he needed that rest, obviously, after that tackle. But yeah, obviously, I just think there's something about that. Like maybe he had that arrogance in him that they kind of needed. And parts they didn't play too bad, but Man United weren't messing around that day. Man United are all over the place as well. They're very much like an Arsenal. You don't know what you're going to get with Man U. You can do a coin toss to see if they're going to win or lose. But obviously it's great for any rivals, of course, of who are near the top. Obviously it's good for Villa, of course, they've gone past Everton now. But that's 3 losses on the bounce now for Everton, from 4 wins to 3 losses. So typical Everton, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just sums up the Premier League, doesn't it? You don't know whether the big boys are going to win or lose. You know what I mean?
It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah.
Although in that game, who's considered the big boy in this current year? Well,
Wow.
No, really. I mean,
quite even, ain't they?
exactly.
Well, Everton have got the right manager, in my view. You know, in what's his name?
Ancelotti.
Yeah, Ancelotti. That's it. Because he's getting the team. Well, he was getting the team based around Calvert-Lewin, wasn't he?
He is.
So that's why I think he's the man for the Everton job.
Yeah, fair point.
Moving on, we've got Southampton. Done it again. 2-0 winners over Newcastle, and did it without Ings.
Yeah.
Who a lot of people are saying Ings is out. This is the end for them. Their run finished. 2-0, comfortable.
Just shows you, doesn't it? I mean, it's sorry, I just see what Fleck's doing. Yeah, so again, top of the table for the first time in their Premier League history. And that was amazing, really, to see. I'm glad for the manager. The manager's really cool. So I'm happy for him, of course. It didn't last too long. But yeah, a heck of an achievement, like you say, without Ings as well. That's massive. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen next. Obviously, we'll see in the next round who they've got, and then we can judge it from there. But yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah, I think a right result there, really. Because Newcastle defensively are a bit shocking at the back, but they did tighten up with the attack this season. But you know, again, it goes down to tactics as well. So, in my view, yeah.
Newcastle is an up and down team, but a shout out to the Southampton media team who, as soon as they went top of the league, albeit for a short time, tweeted, "Stop the count! Stop the count!"
Yes. Yeah, that was a shambles, wasn't it, the other day? But yeah, that was we won't get into politics here, but yeah, that was a heck of a tweet. That was.
Yeah, exactly. And then rounding out round 8, we had the drab game of the week, the dull 0-0, Brighton-Burnley, which I have to say, on the face of it, I think everyone could see that result coming from a mile away, really. 2 struggling teams, both towards the bottom of the table. Brighton again played well, again haven't won. We're saying it week after week. And at this point, I'm going to say they're going to get relegated. Because you can't do this. You can't play well and lose every game, lose or at best draw every game.
Yeah.
You're going to get relegated.
Yeah, it was drab game of the week, to be honest. It was typical, really, wasn't it? I mean, Brighton had the opportunity here to have a game against Burnley, who were doing no good at all. And they still failed to do it. So, you know, I think their confidence was knocked a lot against that Man United game. I think they had that opportunity, but after that, you've had 3 or 4 games after that. You've got enough time there to get yourself back on the horse again and have a go, but not there.
There's no more I can add to that, other than I think that was a fair result, really, because both teams are looking for a win. You know, there's not much more. Yeah,
but they can't find it.
No.
Nope.
Can't buy one at the moment, can I? Sorry to say, but
All right. Well, let's see how those results have affected the league.
Indeed.
Oh. Yeah, your boy Brendan. Flying high.
Doing what he does best, doesn't he, eh?
Top of the league.
Yeah, top of the league indeed. I mean, we had 3 changes this week at the top of the league, didn't we? Obviously, Southampton took past Liverpool, then Tottenham, and then Leicester. So that just shows how open this league is at the moment. I see Chelsea are slowly trying to ride back up. They're in 5th at the moment, have you noticed? They're kind of going under the radar at the moment. But, fair play. Leicester played great games. Only lost 2. No draws yet for Leicester. 6 wins out of 8. Can't be bad.
What do you think, Dean? Southampton, can they maintain this form?
No. I give until Christmas time, the Christmas period. Then obviously they'll start to drop off a bit.
Still, even if they drop off, they'll take a mid-table finish, I'm sure.
Yeah. Of course, yes.
And relegation strugglers Man U picked up a precious 3 points.
Aye.
Rising to 14th, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's mad, wasn't it, really, when you think about it? I mean, now Leeds have dropped down as well. It's hard to look at. If you look at Leeds, we think they've been doing well. They're only 1 place above Brighton.
Yeah.
Really? It's mad.
It's only a goal difference, isn't it?
No, 4 points are clear.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Leeds on 10 points, Brighton on 6 points.
Yeah, Fulham out
of
the bottom 4, of course, they're still there, but again, they could have gone a bit higher themselves. Sheffield United and Burnley, well, they're pretty much down the minute. They're fodder, like you mentioned earlier. West Brom still struggling to get up there. I don't think any of those teams have got a win yet, have they?
West Brom will get one soon, I reckon.
Well, they nearly had one against Chelsea, didn't they?
Really?
Because they are a great team. They are a decent team.
Well, we'll see.
A decent championship team, certainly, but Premier League's a different level.
Aye.
Definitely. And just a quick shout out as well. If you look at Spurs at the top there as well with Leicester, and only lost 1 game, and that was early on in the season.
First game of the season.
First game of the season. So it just shows you they've not been out of form since then. They've been on it. So a couple of draws, but yeah, you can't knock them for flying high.
Imagine if they end the season like that with Leicester and Spurs in the top 2. A repeat of 2015.
Yeah.
Well, it would actually, yeah. Good shout.
Yeah. Never know.
Another 5,000 to 1.
Yeah, they were.
Well, I think Sheffield United are 10,000 to 1 to win it now, so I think little to no hope.
And then Man City still in 10th after 8 games.
Yeah, defensively they looked a bit, leading up to the Liverpool game, they looked a bit off. They didn't know what they were doing. But against Liverpool, they had that 2 main of it, Diaz. He was playing really well in that game. And I thought that their defence is starting to strengthen up a little bit, much better than it used to be. So we'll see what happens going forward. They did put a bit of a strain up against Liverpool, so we'll see what they've got.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the table? Anything else catching your eye?
Not really. Glad to see Everton down there.
Wolves? Sorry, what about Wolves? They're dropping off since they sold Jota to Liverpool. Do you reckon?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think their form was a bit off anyway. So, Jimenez has not been on it like he was last season, of course. Jota actually played, half the games last season. He was off for a bit of injury, but when he did play, he wasn't playing that great for Wolves. So, I don't know what Klopp's seen in him, but obviously picked him and off he went. So, it must have been, start of the season kind of thing.
In my view, he can create goals.
And score them.
He's quite intelligent, actually. He's quite an intelligent player.
Yeah.
I reckon, so.
Yeah, he is. He's a good player. Definitely a miss for Wolves.
Yeah.
And, Paul, do you think he's going to replace the Bobby Dazzler at Liverpool? I've seen a lot of fan talk, Liverpool fans saying they want Bobby out of the team and they want Jota as the starter. What do you think about that?
You see, I could have my kind of patriotic head here on me because, I've always been a big fan of Bobby. I think, yes, he hasn't scored the goals like, your Salah and Mane have. I think, but he's at false nine. He does a lot off the ball that a lot of people don't see. And, at the end of the day, Jota's a striker in form. So you keep the players who are on form, and have them two battling it out. Having that four up front the other day, I was a bit sceptical of. I think all four of them on was a bit odd. Or if I was going to do that, just put Firmino in the false nine position and Jota up front on his own with Salah and Mane. Let's open both up together. But it's testing things. I wouldn't completely replace Firmino just yet. I think there's a lot more to his game than I think a lot of Liverpool fans who don't see it. They only see the goal scorers. He's got a lot more to it, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the fixtures for the next round, which, of course, is sadly going to come after another dreaded international break.
Not again. For goodness sake. Anyway, enough complaining.
Damn it.
Yeah, we'll do a special, obviously, for when that happens. But yeah, just to go through round 9 real quick. Obviously, starting off on the 21st of November will be Newcastle-Chelsea. Big game for Chelsea to keep going their momentum at the moment. Obviously, chance for Newcastle to get back in it. Aston Villa and Brighton. Like I said, the way Brighton have been playing, I can't see them doing much against Aston Villa. I think they'll pull away. Burnley-Crystal Palace. Not really a game. Anything with Burnley involved at the moment sounds like a snooze fest, and I think this will continue. I think Palace will run over it. Interesting one here, Fulham and Everton. Obviously, Everton are 3 losses on the bounce. Can they regain their form against a struggling Fulham? And then obviously we'll stop here. Liverpool, Leicester, top of the table clash. Both had a loss each. Both in some sort of, Leicester in great form, of course. What do you guys think to that game? Do you think that'll be the game of the week?
Definitely, in my view, by the looks of it.
Yeah, quickly scanning the rest of the fixtures, it's by far and away the game of the week, isn't it?
Then again, you got Tottenham, Man City as well. That's going to be a tough one.
Well, it's 2 top games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Interesting to see, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of those games are at 3 o'clock kickoffs, which is nice to see as well. I've missed them on a Saturday. But yeah, moving on real quick, Manchester United at home to West Brom. Again, this is a chance for West Brom to do something. Again, Man United could be all over the place, especially at home at the moment. Then you've got Wolverhampton Wanderers against Southampton. A chance for Southampton, of course, to keep going their great run. Of all teams to play against is Wolves. I think that would be the only team you probably want to play against at the moment. You never know what they're doing. Another big game of the week, like you just mentioned, Fleffer, of course. You got Tottenham and Man City. Yes. Massive game. The way Man City are starting to build a little bit of momentum now against the Tottenham, who are just on fire. They can't stop at the moment. Moving on to the 22nd, the day after, you got Sheffield United, West Ham. Not really fussed about that game. Big game though at the bottom, Leeds and Arsenal. So mid-table clash. Leeds are a bit lower, but that again used to be one of the heck of the games you used to look forward to when you were younger. Remember them?
Oh, in the 90s, what a game that would have been in the 90s.
Yeah,
really hyped up.
Was it Lee Sharp who played for Leeds or something like that?
Lee Sharp. Oh yeah. Oh well, that's going back a few. That's going back in the 90s. You're right. Blimey.
Good memory. Now I just remember that.
Yeah, Lee Sharp. Yeah.
I think for that Leeds Arsenal game, both teams will look at that as a chance to get their season back on track, as it were. So it should be a fruity affair.
It should. And hopefully it is, especially for the neutral. I'll definitely be tuning in if it's not on a pay-per-view.
Just going back to that Liverpool-Leicester game, last season when Leicester were flying high and everyone was saying, they're going to be title contenders, it was when they came up against Liverpool and they sort of imploded last season in that very fixture.
Yeah.
They got absolutely smashed and then their season just petered out from there.
Yeah.
So, will the same thing happen again?
It'd be interesting. I think it'll be a different game this time round. To win 4-0 at Leicester on Boxing Day I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting a Boxing Day smashing from Leicester, but 4-0, they could get revenge. Could you see them winning 4-0 at Anfield? I haven't lost since March 2017. It's an opportunity, I'm a bit worried about them.
Yeah.
Yes. it was a bit demoralising for them. So yeah, the morale obviously went down after that thrashing that they had. Yeah.
What do you think, Fluffinator? Which of these games are you going to be watching with a keen interest?
I'd say the Leicester Liverpool game.
Me too.
I mean,
I don't know. Flesh strikes me as a Burnley Crystal Palace kind of guy.
Well, that would be an interesting match, actually. That one, in my view. Obviously, it's going to be a Crystal Palace win, but how many goals are they going to score past them?
Look at that. You heard it here first, folks. Fluffinator guarantee. It's a Crystal Palace win. And you can take that to the bank.
To the bank.
Yeah. One of them.
I'm actually Monopoly Bank, maybe.
No, I was just going to say the other banker is obviously the Chelsea and Newcastle. Chelsea win.
I mean, I wouldn't have that down as a banker in any means. But
I would.
You heard it here first, folks. Top tips. Do gamble responsibly, and there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah. And
I'm going to call Villa Brighton as my 0-0 damp squib of the round.
Oh, okay. Damn squid of the round. Yeah. Do you know what? I can't think further. I think Sheffield United, West Ham, for me, is going to be my damp squid.
Yeah, I kind of agree with them.
You do get the impression that this round's going to throw up quite a few dull affairs, don't you?
Yeah, a couple of 0-0s.
West Brom, Man U, 0-0.
I mean, West Brom would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well,
interesting.
Let's move on. And have a look at the Golden Shoe race.
Indeed.
Yes, the old Golden Boot race. So we see that Son is on top, I do believe, and followed behind by is it Vardy? Yes. So my personal prediction is Calvert-Lewin. I've started the prediction with him, so I'm going to stick with him. What do you guys? Yeah, what do you guys think?
I personally can't see past Kane. I mean, he's now one behind Sonny, and he keeps scoring. Whereas Sonny, he's stayed there since we started this podcast. He's been top, but he's stopped scoring. He hasn't scored for a couple of games. Whereas Kane's goals, they're continuing to rain in. You know, last game against West Brom, it looked like it was heading for a dour 0-0. Kane steps in, boom, 1-0, 3 points, another goal. I think he'll end up winning the Golden Boot this year.
Yeah, good shout there. I completely agree. I think I can't see anything past Kane at the moment. I think Vardy will be up there as well. You know, he seems to pull out a goal or two. I'm happy for Calvert-Lewin as an individual, not so much as the team he plays for, of course. But yeah, I think he's doing really well, and I think Son will drift off eventually, of course. Just to tie off the rest of them, we've got Bamford, Watkins, Ollie Watkins again back on the list, Wilson, and Bruno Fernandes is back on there. I think it's the first time he's been on there, actually, hasn't it? So fair play to him for getting up to there, and obviously a Danny Ings, which is definitely going to be dropping off, unfortunately for him.
We'll have to see come after the Christmas period. So that's going to be an interesting time.
It's very open at the moment, isn't it? And all rounds.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, what's that? 4 of them on 8 goals apiece. We should say Son's only top via his assists. He's got more assists than the other players on 8 goals.
Yeah.
Didn't he get like 4 assists in one game or something? So
I think so. All to Kane.
Yeah.
The deadly duo.
Yeah.
And speaking of Kane and Son,
we
do now ask Spurs, can they do it? So they did sink at the weekend, which they never done under Pochettino, despite how good Pochettino was. And let's not make no mistake, he was a brilliant manager for them. But they actually went top for a very short time. But they're looking strong. They've got that bit of that Mourinho touch about them. These 3 1-0 wins in a row. That's classic Mourinho.
Yeah.
So can they win the league? Is what I'm asking you guys today.
Wow.
Good question.
Yeah, very good question. No, thank you. To be honest with you, it's an interesting one because you've got obviously, you just put up the next 6 fixtures. If they can get 15 points out of that, then I'm not one to argue against it. If they manage to get 9 points, then they might fade off. If they manage to get less than that, then that's it for me. I think those 6 fixtures there are huge. Possible 18 points on the ground there. The big one for me, I think they're going to struggle at. I think Man City, again, that would be a big game, of course. Away to Chelsea, I think they could potentially do that. Home to Arsenal, I think they'll flatten them. Palace, again, that could be a tricky one for them. The next after that, away at Liverpool, home to Leicester. It depends on the form of Liverpool and Leicester, I think, at that time. And if Tottenham are still doing well, who can say it? But they've always been known as a bit of the old classic bottlers. So I don't think they can. I don't think they've got the end-up stone power in it to do it. I think they look great at the moment. But have they got enough? I don't think they have. But how about you, Fleff? What do you think, mate?
Well, I don't think they have as well. But may I cast your minds back to when Bale was at Madrid. So was Jose Mourinho. And so you got a little bit of chemistry there. So Jose Mourinho will know how Bale works and vice versa. So it's up in the air for me.
There we have it.
Can I ask you one more question? Is that what's happened to Dele Alli?
Well,
I don't know.
Out of favour, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because I did hear he wanted to leave Spurs early on in the season. And where would you guys think he would go if he did?
Difficult to say, really. Difficult to say because he's not like a flair player anymore. He hasn't got that, anything about him that sticks out anymore for me. I think he plays okay, but he's not as good as he used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. He could go somewhere like Palace for me.
I was kind of thinking more Leicester because you got the Jamie Vardy and Dele Alli partnership that they had in the international squad there. So I think he'll do well for Leicester.
It's a good question you've raised, Flav. I don't think he's good enough for Leicester, unfortunately, at this point. Because who's he going to replace in that Leicester team? He's not as good as Maddison by a long shot.
No. Maybe I'd say maybe Tielemans. Maybe
they're different players, aren't they? Tielemans is more defensive. It's a good question, but I don't think he's going to go to a top team. And Leicester are now a top team. Let's not make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
I think if he leaves Spurs, his career's only going one way, unfortunately, and that's on a downwards trajectory.
Yeah, because he was a quality player, man. He was.
Yeah. You can see why he's not a Jose player, though, isn't it? His work rate it's never been great.
Yeah. I think Jose's made the right decision.
But my personal opinion is they can do it. You might recall in our season preview, I predicted it from the start.
You did.
Jose was going to work his magic.
He did.
Which looked pretty bad after week 1, but it's not looking too bad a prediction now.
No, you're looking spot on now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, I think Man City did a TV show that you could subscribe to, and you end up doing the best season ever, getting 100 points off that TV show. So if Spurs are now doing that same TV show, if they win it on 100 points, we know something's going on. But like I said, I personally don't think they will, but if they do, I wouldn't be that surprised, to be fair. I think, they've got something in them. And if they can prove me wrong, then all power to them.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, viewers. Can Spurs win the league? Or are we talking rubbish?
Let us know in those comments. Get it down.
And we've just got one more slide to look at.
Yes.
Paul, I believe you want to talk about incidents over the weekend?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Obviously, another VAR chat, isn't it? We're all talking about bloody VAR at the moment. But, yeah, so handballs, has it gone to VAR? Nicely done there. That was Nick that come up to that.
Yeah.
Very well done. So as you can see, there's a couple of examples down there, obviously with Gomez and who's the other gentleman? Sorry, for Wolves.
It's Kilman.
Kilman, that's right. Yeah, so both of those. Obviously, the De Bruyne, obviously for the Man City and the other one, those balls came in at such a pace. And, the defenders, as they run, you're running hands forward, backwards, whichever. Instantly, as soon as someone takes a like a cross, it almost instinct now to kind of, you have to put your arms behind your back or try and do something. But even then, you haven't got that time to do it. I know you defenders used to turn their backs from. But one thing that's really getting to me is the fact that in fast play, they're not seeing it. The players go, oh, handball, and they go and check the VAR thing, and then they're talking over, and then they can't decide, so they go and look at the thing, and they won't change their decision. They, it's a penalty or whatever. And I just think it's giving referees, as soon as they do it, referees might as well just give a penalty now, because they're just consistently doing it. I think VAR in one way, I used to call years ago when everyone didn't want VAR. I wanted it because I wanted the results to be pure. I wanted it to be proper, and and then I always said if VAR was, it wasn't called VAR at the time, but if they had the rules implemented properly, there'd be no more Man United and Liverpool would win the league. And it bugger me, as soon as it comes in, there was no more Man United and Liverpool win the league. So I'm not saying it was a coincidence. But yeah, for all that, throughout the years, I mean, it's getting a bit too much. The offside, which we didn't mention earlier, of course, that Leeds game, Bamford had his arm offside. His whole body was on. His hand was offside. His hand doesn't score a goal. His any part of his body does, but his hand doesn't. It's not allowed. So why the heck is that seen as offside? But that's another talk for another day. But this whole VAR thing with handball, I just think it's ridiculous. I think they should give the players the benefit of the doubt, especially defenders. I think the goalkeepers are protected far too much in one side, but then the other hand of the coin, the defenders are not protected. So it's like they should even it out a bit. And I just think it's a cracking talking point, really. They need to look at this. They really need to get their heads together in that referee's room and sort themselves out and say, right, let's take it for what it is. If you do it in slow motion, it looks like he's punching the ball out of the air. You do it in the speed that they're going at, these balls are flying. 60, 70, if not quicker, miles per hour. How the heck are you meant to move your hand out of the way? You can't. So I just think it's a bit over the top. What do you guys think about it all?
Wow. Yes, it's a bit, how shall we say, harsh, giving a penalty for handballs and all that, because you got to give yourself, time to process what's happening as well. You got to give your time, brain time to process as well.
Yeah.
So having a ball blasted at you like 100 miles an hour, and the ref at close range as well, and the ref gives a penalty, harsh.
Yeah.
To understand if it's like about 5-6 meters away, then give a penalty.
Yeah.
But if it's like less than like 2 meters, it's harsh.
Yeah. There was a very interesting thing on the Leicester penalty in particular, where when the referee went to look at the screen, the replays he saw, they showed it on the match cam. He only saw slow motion replays of the incident.
Yeah.
Now, if he's shown it in full speed, he can clearly see there's no way he's getting out of the way of that ball.
No.
But it looks much worse on slow motion, which is why he's given the penalty. He said, well, it's a definite penalty. If he sees it in full speed, anyone in the world is saying, well, there's nothing he can do about that.
No.
But then that raises another point. It used to be, if there's no intention and it's a handball, it's not a handball.
Yeah,
But that
exactly.
rule seems to not apply anymore.
No, the intention's all gone, hasn't it?
Mm.
You know, we've seen classic handballs over the years, of course. I mean, recent memory, if you remember Suarez's handball off the line against Ghana in the World Cup, you know, he literally punted it off the line. We've seen very similar things. You know, that was intended. He was intended to save the ball from going in the goal. When the ball's coming in and you're running and then bang, all of a sudden you think, what the heck? Before you had your minds even processed, he's crossed the ball, it's touched your hand.
Yeah.
Your arm's sore because you didn't even see what's happened. And the referee's giving up. It's just absolutely got out of hand.
Yeah.
You know, I think if these players all got together and said, right, that's it. You know, I'm surprised they haven't done it already. They haven't got like a union of sorts. But if they all got together and said, right, we're not kicking another ball until you sort your VAR out once and for all, the offsides, everything, make it clear to us as anything, and just get on with it. They've got to do something.
There's another thing as well. Is that if you notice it early on in the season, if you watch Match of the Day, it's like questioning where does the arm start and where does it finish?
Yeah.
Where does it start for you guys? Because for me, it starts round here. You know, just underneath the shoulder blades.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where it should be if it's hitting anywhere under there intentionally.
Yeah.
It's like at school, you know, you're playing football, if it hits someone's arm, everyone's shouting, hey, it was unintentional.
Oh, yes.
We used to have pals who used to slap it out of the air when it come in.
Even with the tennis balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we learned our skills.
There's one other point for this. With the handballs and that, it's taken a lot of goals away. With the handballs in the box, it is adding goals to the game. Is that a good thing?
Good point. How many penalties have we had this season compared to, you know, this time every other season prior to that? You know, so there is that. We are seeing more goals. Would Leicester have beaten Wolves without the penalty? You know, I think, you know, Liverpool got 2 penalties earlier on the season against Leeds. Okay, they were penalties for obviously tackles, but again, similar things. I mean, how many penalties have we seen this season? It's incredible. Do you remember that World Cup 2018? How many penalties were in that? So, yeah, since this has been brought in, there is more goals, and I suppose it's, you know, it's an American fan's dream, I suppose, seeing goals now as opposed to 0-0s. But yeah, there is that. But I wanted the game to be played fairly. I didn't want no, you know, Man United style winnings where you win last second and all this dodgy stuff going on. I wanted to eliminate that, and they have done, thankfully. Well, you'd say, well, kind of, maybe not. But it's gone the other side now. So it's just gone very over the top, you know, and I just think they need to find a happy medium.
I agree, yes.
There we go.
Yes.
So obviously it's a big discussion, folks. Please let us know what you guys think in the comments. You know, are we right to have a go at VAR, or do you like it how it is? I don't think anyone really does. You know, what do you suggest we do in regards to tweaking it? Maybe let us know.
Do you think they got other aspects of VAR right, like the offside rules and?
No, not at all. No, they've gone from one extreme to the other. You know, where they haven't seen an offside, and all of a sudden now they see it before it's happened. It's ridiculous now. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest. Yes, we won the league off it last season, but it's making the league more open. If you notice, this VAR thing is now it's opened the league up a lot. But you know, if it does that, I suppose there is a bit of benefit to it. That's the only benefit I see. But nothing more.
Makes it more interesting, in my view.
Yeah, as a neutral fan.
Yeah.
So there we go. That ties up, I think, for this week.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Fleffinator. Much appreciated. We will leave a link in the description to Fleffinator's channel if you want to go and check him out. If you want to, what is your a little quick brief about what your channel is about, Fleff?
It's basically about gaming. I sometimes do a bit of TikTok or Small or just general chat, really.
Okay.
Sorry, did you say Small? What's that?
Small. It's like a singing app where you find songs that you can sing to, and
Would you like to sing us out?
In my voice, and I did it my way.
Well, I think that's
I think that's what we've got time for.
Yes, that's it. Let's cut him off now, quick.
Uncle.
Right, yeah. Thanks for joining us today. Good luck for the rest of the season.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me up here, guys.
No problem. Thanks for joining us, bud.
All right.
Take care, guys.
See you next time.